We farm the base, about 80% of our operation is Champaign County, about 20% is on the Coles-Douglas County line, about 30 miles from here. So that's just something, when I started farming, that's where my mother was from. It was my grandfather's farm, and so that's how I got started farming, and the traveling, once you get onto it, isn't that big an issue. I started farming in 1985 was my first crop. Got out of the University of Illinois. This was when the farm crisis was, everybody said it's a terrible time you do not want to farm. No, and all you heard was negative. And I had the opportunity. My dad was getting out of the hogs, had the chance to get my grandfather's farm and some other acres, and I just decided then to jump in.
I was a student at Illinois State University, and Dirk was a student at University of Illinois, and we met on a blind date. My roommate, Debbie, and her boyfriend, Mike Zook, set us up for a barn dance, and that was our first date, was the barn dance there at ISU. So the rest is history.
Married Lynn in 1985, and so she got to become a farm wife. And we have 3 children. Oldest is Amanda, who is a guidance counselor at our Janet Oriana School District. Middle one, Matt, is farming with me. The youngest, Ashley, works for the Illinois Soybean Association. I started out, I had small farrow to finish operation, eventually phased that out, and now my son Matt came home to farm when he graduated from SIU, Carbondale, and he started a cow-calf operation. So that's something new to us, but we're using that with cover crops. In 2013 was the first crop year with it. And so we're kind of working to figure out, every year you learn something, and how I say, if you do 2 things right, 1 thing wrong, at least you're going forward. So, but figure out the best way to work the cover crops, using crop residue for feed. As you can see around here, you don't see a lot of pastures, so we have to use the fields and the residue there. Luckily, the crops we have produce a lot of residue. I'm growing corn, soybeans, occasionally wheat, and we're currently at 2,100 acres. Probably 40% of my bushels are food grade yellow corn and goes to Frito-Lay.
Dirk is a very hard worker. He is very organized, gets things done. He's very conservation minded when it comes to the land. He wants to leave the land in good shape, and he wants to include his family, and it's been a great life here on the farm. My
dad was very conservation minded. We had the first chisel plow in the neighborhood, and it was like 1971 or 2. I remember him saying he had a neighbor that came over and said, "You can't do that, the bugs are going to eat you up if you don't moldboard plow." And he said, "Well, I think I'll be okay." And by the time I came home in 1985, we were starting to do a fair amount of no-till. I think that's just it. It's just constantly improving, and you want ground that's going to be good for another 100 years, at least.
I think Dirk is a master farmer because of his love of farming, and he wants to leave a legacy of the farm for his family. Takes very good care of the land, and he understands how important agriculture is in the world, in the global markets. He has always had a love for agriculture his whole life.
Probably the biggest honor, in being a master farmer to me is the organization that nominated me, just Illinois Corn, and thinking that they thought enough of my service there to nominate me for this. I mean, obviously, being a master farmer in Illinois, there's not very many people are honored with it, and you do quite a bit, and so I was just really moved that they nominated me.